Today I'm explaining what is the business cycle. What is the business cycle? The business cycle is a series of contraction and expansion of the economy or economic activity. A series of contraction and expansion of economic activity. So what does that mean? Contraction, a decrease in production, a slowdown in production. Some businesses shut down. Expansion is the opposite, an increase in production, increase in factories, businesses, and so on. The business cycle is measured by the increase and decrease in real GDP. The business cycle is measured by increase or decrease in real GDP. The business cycle has 4 different stages or 4 phases. Phases or stages of the business cycle. We've mentioned the business cycle before when we talked about cyclical unemployment. And here we have real GDP, and here we have time. A cycle starts at a certain point and ends after the 4 phases are through. So this is the first phase. Here is which is expansion, or in other words, recovery, because it's recovering from the previous lowest phase or stage. The highest or the peak is peak or prosperity. Then a recession or a contraction. And finally, a trough or depression. So what characterizes each phase? In the expansion or recovery stage, the economy is growing. More businesses are starting. Higher employment, lower unemployment. More real production is happening. It keeps going on until it reaches the maximum where most of the resources are utilized. At that point, people are getting high incomes. They demand their demand is high, but all the resources are utilized. So we have here inflation. Now demand is higher than what production could meet, so we have inflation at prosperity. At this stage, businesses do not find it profitable to produce more, so they slow down. Slowing down is a recession. In a recession or a contraction, businesses decrease their production. They lay off some of their workers, so unemployment increases, real GDP decreases. This continues until they reach a point where this is the minimum production that could be reached. This is the minimum employment, and then we go through another business cycle. So the characteristics of each phase. Expansion. We have high employment. which is low unemployment. We have high increase in real GDP at the peak or prosperity, maximum GDP, maximum employment. And because of the maximum employment and because people receive high incomes, we start to have inflation. Then contraction is the opposite. Employment decreases, unemployment increases. Real GDP decreases or does not grow, at least real GDP, or no growth. Sometimes at this stage of contraction where there is no growth, at the same time there is high inflation, which is called stagflation. Stagflation means no economic growth plus inflation. And finally, the depression or trough, which is the opposite of, it is the minimum GDP, maximum unemployment. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.